But the first thing I thought, toxic positivity, I was like, hey, that sounds like my dad.
Are you familiar with the term toxic positivity?
Toxic positivity.
I'm gonna guess it's like people who are annoyingly optimistic even when the situation clearly isn't going well.
No, I really haven't.
Yeah, and I'm probably one of those people that is an accidental perpetrator of it.
Toxic positivity is tricky, mainly because usually whoever's doing it actually means well. They just don't know what to say when someone is telling them that it's difficult for them. They think they're cheering them up, when in fact, they unintentionally do the exact opposite.
Ted Lasso welcome wagon has arrived.
Instead of helping that person by telling them to be positive, it'll only make them feel dismissed and ignored. If an employee can't talk about what's bothering them, their problems are not going to go away.
You know, I worked in a corporate law firm in the past, and everything was very in London, and everything was very like, everything's fine, but like actually then the door closes and people cry at their desk. So I think that whole like, oh, you're having a hard time, like don't worry, it'll be fine tomorrow. It's like kind of giving that whole sense of like, kind of put on a brave face and everything will be good, like not really talking about whatever it is that's the issue, and that's not going to help someone at the end of the day. So.
Be positive, that's the way to live.
I would say that is professionally where I've run into the most issues, is like I try to think of the bright side of things, and inherently I also tend to be a fixer. So when a team member or even like a friend comes to me with a problem, my first reaction is, it's okay, let's figure out the solution, you know, let's go forward from here.
In those moments, I think we're just looking for recognition. Hey, I hear you, I hear how you feel, would go a long way over maybe just a mantra that someone would throw at me, like,
everything's fine, don't need to like really go into it.
Hey, now there, little lady, you're gonna do just fine, kiddo.
So it's like this expectation to always show up and smile and be happy and give praise and say that like, the world is amazing and my job is amazing, when like deep down you're about to burn out.
We can't be in a world in which we always say like, it's great, amazing, good job. Like sometimes you need to hear the truth.
I actually think it's easier to sympathize with someone than to make them feel better.
Sometimes you need to vent and like be honest about a situation, like that client sucked, or like this new initiative, I think it's kind of stupid, right? Like you need to be able to like call out the real elements of every situation, regardless of whether or not they're positive or negative.
I saw myself just afraid to hurt people's feelings and giving them feedback, but what changed my mind about that was realizing what I was holding them back from achieving.
The message toxic positivity sends to employees is your feelings are not relevant and you should keep them to yourself. In other words, it's the minimization and invalidation of your emotional experience. In the long run, such an atmosphere silences criticism and really prevents your company from getting better at what it does.
I think invalidating someone's feelings at that moment always kind of ruins the relationship, like whoever it is. I know a lot of the older generations kind of like that, where it's like, oh, back in my day, I had to walk 15 miles to my job. Like, taking 2 buses, not that big of a deal. I'm like, but I'm tired and I'm miserable. Are you though? Like, are you miserable? I'm like, yeah, 100% I am.
What we are gonna do is we're gonna take your enthusiasm, we're gonna bundle it up, and we're gonna find a new place for a dog park. Doesn't that sound fun? 1, 2, 3, cheese.
You want someone to like empathize with you a bit, you know? When you're going through something hard, you want someone to be like, oh yeah, that sounds really tough. Not be like, oh, well, someone else says it was.
don't complain. You're living much better than most people.
It reminds me of like being a kid, and when I wanted to like leave the table and my mom was like, there's kids starving in Africa, why don't you finish your vegetables? Like, you know, there's it doesn't change the fact that I'm not gonna eat my vegetables.
It could be stressful for a manager when someone comes to complain, even if you do want to help. Sometimes employees just want to vent and feel as if you see them. Just make sure they know it's okay to talk about their feelings, because if they don't talk their feelings, they're gonna act their feelings.